Life in Turkey may be returning to normal after an attempted coup over the weekend, but it's not business as usual yet. The Prime Minister is calling on citizens to continue on Democracy Watch in public squares in the evenings after work. Now, we're going to look at the economic and business ramifications in a moment, but first, Yolo Abdavid brings us up to date with this report from Ankara.
A few days after the attempted coup, and the Prime Minister and the Cabinet have been trying to reassure people in Turkey that things are getting back to normal. 208 people have died since the beginning of this coup, and there are also now almost 7,500 people being investigated by the police and by prosecutors in terms to see whether they were involved in any way. And we've also had confirmation that the Ministry of the Interior, there are 8,777 staff which have been moved from their jobs, from their posts, and they are also being investigated because there is concern that the Ministry of Interior was also involved in some way. But the real message, the strong message, apart from those striking figures, is that the Prime Minister and the Cabinet are hopeful that there is cross-party support to try and move on as quickly as possible and normalise the situation here in Turkey and in Ankara.
Well, the Turkish lira slid almost 5% against the US dollar as events unfolded on Friday night. But it has come back on Monday with a 3% rise, so just a little weaker than before the violence. Several countries, including the United States, Canada and Australia, are advising their citizens to reconsider travelling to Turkey. And US aviation regulators have banned all direct flights between the two. It means Turkish Airlines has cancelled its scheduled flights to 9 US airports. Turkey's government owns 49% of Turkish Airlines, so the ban may affect its earnings from the company. And Turkey's central bank announced on Sunday that it's providing unlimited liquidity for banks and other measures to ensure stability in financial markets. Well, Turkey's tourism has already been hit by security concerns and a diplomatic spat with Russia. It was hoped that by mending relations with Moscow and Israel this month, that the industry could be revived. Well, let's take a look at some of the recent figures. According to Euromonitor International, there's already been a 10% decline in visitors to the country in the first quarter of this year. And data from Moody's says revenues from tourism are down 16.5% in the same period. The tourism industry is a very important earner for the country, generating some $31.5 billion last year. Well, we sent Azhar Sukri to one of Istanbul's main tourist areas to get an idea of how visitors and businesses are responding to the attempted coup.
So behind us is Istiklal Street, and in front of us is Taksim Square. Almost any tourist coming to Istanbul would inevitably find themselves coming through this area. And tourism is one of the most important industries in this country, accounting for something like 8% of employment here. But inevitably, tourists who are coming through Istanbul right now after the attempted coup are feeling worried. But we got an idea of what they're thinking a little bit earlier.
It was a scary situation actually, and on that night, because I didn't think that this could be happening, but it actually happened.
My tour operator told me to go back to the hotel and stay today. There is a problem, but I don't know what is the problem. Everything is going fine.
Well, actually, I feel safe, but the situation is kind of weird because wherever you go, there's always a feeling like there were those demonstrations like yesterday or the day before. But I'm feeling safe, yes, I do.
And all around us, there are hotels and restaurants that make a living from tourists. And for them, this is a very worrying time. But the business owners that we spoke to also expressed confidence that the economy and the tourists will eventually come back.
There
is a global crisis, so business is low. We have a bit of a problem, but it is a general problem. Everything is okay. This kind of attempted coup in any country has a bad effect on the people. There was an attempted coup on Friday night. We repelled that. It has affected all of us psychologically and economically. No one can gain from a coup. My hope is that it won't happen again.
So Taksim Square on Friday night was the scene of some gunfire as the coup attempt got underway, but it was also the scene of defiance by those who are opposed to it. And that spirit we've found is being reflected also amongst the business owners here in the heart of Istanbul.